I now call upon the indigenous people major group to make their statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is BINALAKSHMI NEPRAM from Manipur in northeast region of India that borders Myanmar. Allow me to pay my greetings in my language, Mayambu Taramna Okchari. Indigenous peoples make up 15% of the world's poorest, and many of the world's estimated 370 million indigenous people are in the least developing, landlocked, and middle-income countries. And we lag behind virtually in every social SDG indicator, socio, economic, or political, making us constitute those further left behind. Further, we, the majority of indigenous people in these countries, are not legally recognized by many states, even in these countries, and are experiencing the worst form of racism, marginalization, exploitation, discrimination, and even extermination. Further, our customary lands, forests, and resources are militarized, population engineering done, and our lands and resources given away to corporations, security sector, and given even to other nations without our meaningful participation and consent. This have resulted in entrenched violence for decades, as in Manipur, northeast India, where I am from. It has resulted in massive internal displacement, refugee movements, climate change, hunger, sexual violence, environmental violence, and destruction of our livelihoods, leaving us extremely left far behind. And national action plans in the least developing countries do not even include us in the SDG targets. Hence, there is a clarion call to take up this urgent action. First, governments must formally recognize indigenous people as distinct groups with collective rights, as affirmed by 2007 Indigenous Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Number two, recognize indigenous people's rights to lands, territories, and resources, and to protect and promote them as precursors for achieving sustainable development goals. Provide special measures to address specific conditions of indigenous people. Example, our remoteness. We should stop national centers as development centers, mitigate structural violence committed to indigenous people's territories as infusion of narcotic drugs and weapons in indigenous territories, gender inequalities and violence, trafficking and exploitation of indigenous women and girls. We have to protect our indigenous income practices such as weaving. What I'm wearing is woven by indigenous women of Manipur. Our lack of access to education and sustainable farming and other forms of food production and has to be looked at, and our lack of access to energy markets, financial services must be recognized and mitigated at the earliest because we have just 12 years left. We have to reform discriminatory laws and policies, our histories, cultures, cultural sites, indigenous arts and craft, weaving, language, our food, identities, spirituality, and other organic ways of life must be upheld. And we have to ensure meaningful participation and inclusion and decision-making of indigenous people, particularly women, youth, and people of all ages, in the monitoring and implementation of SDGs. Include indigenous identifier in disaggregation, including by ethnicity, in national census and other surveys, because this has not been done even today. The UN
I'm sorry, ma'am, you're out of time.
Yeah, thank you so much for your attention. Yeah.